up? Just Ehren right here, Question Period Canada. How you doing? Saturday, and we're working on a story. I just want you guys to see what I've been watching. Trudeau does not seem very honest. Poilievre, he's a politician too, so we know that, but seems much more credible or sincere than Trudeau. Watch them go at it, and they talk about some heavy issues here, guys, like transgender children and the Liberals' stance on that, and then the housing crisis, all of these things. I just want to show you the way that they speak about each other and the issues in Canada, because you need to see this stuff to know how you're gonna vote. Like, this is the thing. They're all clowns, but which clown you got?
I think everyone well knows my stance on standing up for minorities and being there for the LGBT community. The question I think people should be asking is, why has the right suddenly decided to attack the LGBT community? Danielle Smith just brought forward some of the most difficult policies against vulnerable youth that the country has ever seen. And I heard Mr. Poilievre went off against the LGBT community again this morning. And one might wonder why this is the theme that right-wing politicians are trying to stir up as much as possible. For me, it's fairly obvious that they don't want to be talking about housing. They don't want to be talking about bringing in more competition in the grocery sector as we are as a government. They don't want to be talking about how Alberta continues to sit on.
He divides and distracts there for a little while, so we'll just jump into what Poilievre had to say about a very similar question.
What do you think? What do you think? I want to know your position. What's your own party policy? It's your own party policy. At party convention.
I think we should protect the rights of parents to make their own decisions.
What does it mean?
With regards to their children. And I believe that adults should have the freedom to make any decision they want about their bodies.
But minors. How about children? Ban surgeries and medical interventions for minors, as your own party members suggested.
Medical interventions like what?
That is the language that your party
What medical
used.
Interventions?
Well, you would have to ask your party members.
What medical interventions?
Such as puberty blockers and hormone replacement.
For minors?
Yeah. Yes.
Irreversible? You're talking about irreversible?
I'd like to understand your
I just want to be
position.
clear. No, I want to be clear. I just want to be clear.
For minors.
Puberty blockers for minors?
Do you agree with that?
Do you agree with that?
I think that we should protect children and their ability to make adult decisions when they are adults.
So you
that
think
would affect-
only
I
adults
think-
should make you said yes? Just to be clear, you said yes, only adults should take puberty blockers?
I think we should protect children, let them make adult decisions when they become adults.
When people are adults, they can make choices about their adult lives. That's all I'm saying. I'm not sure if a preteen knows about how things are going to be for them in the future. That's all I'm saying. We get into some heavier stuff now. It's back on kids and protecting kids from the internet. Isn't that a parent's job?
Online harms bill is necessary, and why can't people be allowed to say what they want online?
First of all, we know, and everyone can agree, that kids are vulnerable online to hatred, to violence, to being bullied, to seeing and being affected by terrible things online. We need to do a better
As parents or a federal government.
job as a society of protecting our kids online the way we protect them in schoolyards, in our communities, in our homes across the country. We need to make sure, and I think we can all agree, we need to protect our kids online. Now, how to go about do that is a very careful balance. We need to make sure we're protecting freedom of expression. We need to make sure we're protecting the freedoms and the rights of Canadians while we protect kids. That's why we've spent years working with different community groups, with advocates, with minority communities, with experts, with people in all sorts of different backgrounds to make sure that what we're doing is actually protecting kids. And I look forward to putting forward that online harms bill, which people will see is very, very specifically focused on protecting kids and not on censoring the internet as misinformation and as the right wing tends to try and characterize it as. I think everyone, wherever they are on the political spectrum, can agree that protecting kids is something governments should be focused on doing.
I will warn you, Poilievre has a couple of talents and skills these other clowns don't seem to have.
The federal government has said that its online harms bill is imminent. They've said this bill will include, among other things, a ban on so-called online hate speech. As you know, the Conservatives a decade ago repealed Section 13 of the Canadian Human Rights Act, which the Liberals have talked about reintroducing and tried in the last parliamentary term. Will the Conservatives oppose the reintroduction of these provisions and the Liberals' approach to so-called online hate speech?
Yes, we will oppose Justin Trudeau's latest attack on freedom of expression. And I want to ask, what does Justin Trudeau mean when he says the word hate speech? He means speech he hates. So, for example, let's go through some of the things he said is hate speech. Jerry Butts, the PMO puppet master, said that it was hate speech to criticize Trudeau for using the ridiculous term people kind, right? Justin Trudeau said anyone who criticized him during the pandemic was engaging in hate speech. Basically, anybody who disagrees with his radical agenda when it comes to kids, he says is hate speech. He attacked Muslim parents who were protesting against his agenda. Is he going to criminalize those Muslim parents for protecting their children in schools? Go down the list of things that Justin Trudeau disapproves of, and you can imagine all of the things that will be criminalized. Then there becomes the question of who is going to be in charge of determining what is hate speech. Recently, a school board in Ontario banned Anne Frank's books. Okay, so would that be considered hate speech under Justin Trudeau's woke authoritarian agenda? I think it would. So anyone who thinks that speech they don't like is going to be criminalized and therefore the bill should be supported, go through that. Those people should go through the list of their own thoughts that Justin Trudeau considers to be unacceptable views, and you can assume that he will ban all of that as well. And finally, I point out the irony that someone who spent the first half of his adult life as a practicing racist, who dressed up in hideous racist costumes so many times he says he can't remember them all, should then be the arbiter on what constitutes hate. Why doesn't he? What he should actually do is look into his own heart and ask himself why he was such a hateful racist. For despite his enormous personal privileges of a multi-million-dollar trust fund, being the son of a prime minister, growing up in mansions, traveling the world, why he had so much hate in his heart that he was such an awful racist. And what he should do is actually explain where that ugliness came from, and maybe in that way, rather than through coercion, he could help us all in the fight against real hate.
The Conservative leader says your bill on hate is about banning speech you hate, and he also called you someone with a woke authoritarian agenda who spent the first half of his adult life as a practicing racist. What's your response to that?
My response to the substantive part of that question is Mr. Poilievre hasn't even seen the legislation we're about to put forward next week. He's already telling people exactly what it is and what it isn't. I think responsible leadership is about dealing in facts, actually reading a piece of legislation before he starts telling people what he thinks it does, and then having a rigorous debate in Parliament about how to best protect kids. He's not interested in that. He's interested in hurling insults, in distracting from the fact that he has no plan on housing. He has no plan on childcare. He has no plan on fighting climate change and creating good jobs for the future. He has no plan in terms of building and protecting the kinds of jobs here in Alberta or across the country that people are going to rely on in a transforming world. What does he have a plan for? He has a plan for stoking division, creating fear, throwing out personal insults. That's not leadership. Canadians deserve a government that is focused every day on building a better future for them. That's what I'm doing here today. He can throw whatever insults he likes. I look forward to having substantive debates on how we're going to fix the challenges Canadians are facing, because we're busy doing that while he's busy ranting.
So, gang, what do you think? We're not trying to be fancy here, just trying to show the raw material. Is it Trudeau, or we do have a corrupt government currently, it would seem, but I guess you can't even say that. Anyhow, like and subscribe. We'll catch you next video. Canadian politics, right here.